The founder and of Peer Guidance and Jade Alberts Consulting. This is a live show, so if you do have any questions, please reach out. Kurt and I will answer them. I'd like to introduce today's guest, Kurt Kinnear, the founder of Hubudub. Kurt, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good now.
Hey, look at that, eh? We had to restart it. The joys of technology, and I mean, we'll get into it. But you've never had any issues with an app or anything at all.
No, technology always works perfect for me.
I know. Oh, I tell you, sometimes you just want to throw this stuff into the river.
Yeah. I was just saying it works every time you don't need it, but then the moments you do it, somehow it doesn't work.
Oh, I know. Isn't that the truth, right? Oh, so truthful there. I know before we get at it here, I know I like telling people how we met, and we met through the rainforest. We met for a few coffees, and we've met quite a few times now, and we've developed quite the relationship that I actually cherish and really respect your past, and we'll get into that, and obviously what you're doing for the community. So kudos to you.
Likewise.
No, that's great. We'll do a quick little introduction here, and then we'll get at it. So, Kurt's been around for quite a while in Calgary, and he started the Hubudub, which is a digital hub for the real life community. It's the first ever loyalty program that rewards members for time spent in their community. Check into your favorite Hubudub events, activities, and you'll earn points for every minute that you spend in the community. The more points you get, the more you'll be able to reward. Your points are called hubcaps, which can be used for rewards. So, I mean, back in the day, you were named top 40 under 40 in Alberta, and you're kind of a serial entrepreneur. So please share your story with us, how Hubudub became a reality.
Yeah, well, after working in tons of different sectors, I worked in oil and gas, I worked in construction, all sorts of areas. My wife and I agreed to finally go and do what I went to school for. So I started on the front desk at the Outdoor Center at the University of Calgary. And it was funny because I was actually terribly slow at the front desk, but then I became a supervisor and I could help everyone else go way faster. So I started to kind of figure out what my niche was. And then I became a youth coordinator, turned around a bunch of summer camps. They were losing money every year, and we grew them and turned them around. And then the Outdoor Center, out of all things, lost $300,000 and was going to get shut down. So I was losing $300,000 a year. And I figured in life, there's a lot of missed opportunities in life. So I figured I'd throw my hat in and see if there's a way to solve this. And I put it out there, and before I knew it, I was the youngest acting director, I think, in the history of the University of Calgary. And I was given 3 years to turn around the Outdoor Center, and we did it. And then right after I was recovering from turning around the Outdoor Center, and I also started the Outdoor Council of Canada while we were doing that. That entrepreneurial bent just doesn't seem to leave. And then while we were doing that, I was asked to manage a bunch of other departments, which were previously like campus rec and all these other departments. And I merged them into probably one of the first active living departments I'd seen. Because I was like, our mission's got to be bigger than certain little groups of people we serve. And then we started growing that. I merged all the summer camps. We grew those. Started a program called Level Up to reward student participation. And then I started another thing called student credit, just to reward more participation through our programs. Yeah. And we just grew a ton. We grew by, I think it was around $3 million a year by the time we went through that turnaround. And our impact was just, we were able to make a real positive impact in our community and engage our students. And then I became the senior director of the faculty. And during that period, I led the Olympic Oval operations, athletics, all of those areas. That was actually when I earned top 40 under 40, was when I had that role. And it was interesting because it was actually when I got into that role, I started to feel stagnant. I'd managed so many people. I love the people I got to work with, but I just felt like it was more of the same and I wasn't growing. And during that time, I met a student that was in our program called Level Up. And I was sitting at this event, and he was talking with his buddies about how they were grad students and they were competing for total points. And I started asking more questions because you always want to learn whenever you get an opportunity. And he looked at me right across the table, and he's like, "This thing's changed my life. What are you going to do with it?" And it was just like, okay. So now I got to do something even crazier than the last time I jumped into a new industry. And I started doing tons of research, figuring out what's going on, why our community engagement has been just suffering, why all these organizations have great missions, great products, and nobody's showing up. And then I started working on a solution to kind of pull all those pieces together. And that was Hubudub.
Well, it's amazing to see how your backstory, evolved through the UFC, and how you learned how to create it, and how you took those experiences to create your own business. Obviously Hubudub, and it is, it's something that I can say that we use even when, we're walking into the YMCA. My girls are now saying, "Oh, Dad, have you got it? Are you up? You got it downloaded? Are you ready? Are you in there?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm earning points. So it's even our families, adapted to it. But coming from the corporate world of the UFC, how was it? How were you able to take some of these experiences and translate them into being a business owner?
Well, although I worked in not-for-profit, I definitely ran it like a business. So there was just a lot of strings attached to a lot of the decisions I had to make or push through. In other words, if I had a good idea, I had to convince 40 people that it was a good idea before I could do anything about it. And through that experience, I think that's actually really helped me. I would say the UFC gave me a ton of opportunities. I love that organization. I'll do anything to help them and continue to help them. I left on really good terms when I eventually resigned as from all those roles.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing you get from working in a large institution is resources. You can talk to lawyers about business problems that aren't related to Hubudub, but related to active living, outdoor center, all those things. And then you can talk to HR advisors and finance, and you just learn so much because you have all of these people helping you accomplish your vision and your values through your departments. And I think through that experience, I was able to really get comfortable running a business. And what you also realize is everyone has different opinions. So you meet in 12 years, I probably worked with 15 to 20 different HR people. And each one would say this issue is black and this issue is white. And then the next one would flip them. And you're sitting there and you're just like, you both have good reasons to have a different opinion on this. So you get to learn where the middle is, which is also really valuable.
No, and it's such a lot of people don't have that type of knowledge before they start a business, which is obviously, as you explained, is priceless. And and being able to listen to all these people and just absorb all that knowledge. So now that you've taken your world, moved it over to the entrepreneur side, you must have had challenges on both sides of the business. Obviously, being someone that needs to find the communities that you need to act in, and of course now give it to the people that you have to get the rewards from. So, how did you tackle this, and what were some of your issues there, or some of your pitches to the people like the Y?
Well, I think in anything I've done that has kind of seemed out of the box, Outdoor Council of Canada would be another thing that was very, very out of the box. It was a discussion that was had in many rooms. Everyone was talking about how do we provide this service. The real challenge is finding innovators amongst the population, like people that are really moving the needle are your most critical partners. And those are the people that, hi, Ely. I just saw Ely send a message. So,
yeah.
And those are the people that I used to think it was about pitching a great idea. You kind of get accustomed to that through pitch contests and everything, but it's actually finding the right people to work with that's more important. Evaluating those people and making sure that you're both trying to move in the same direction. And that's, for me, that's the most exciting thing. That's probably the biggest challenge, because what we're doing is providing innovation in a sector that hasn't seen much innovation in the past many years. And I think that's the important part for us.
No, and I agree, right? Every point system is never, or anyone that you're ever been involved in is, it's not being active in your own community. It's always something, a bigger picture, so to say, right? I never go to the Y, or when I go to the library, or when I go to some of these other places. And for anybody that wants to check it out, the website is right there. It's also in the comment section, so you can just click on it and it'll take you right to the Hubudub website.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really love that fact. And I mean, I've introduced you to people that have said, oh my goodness, I just love that. I love the face-to-face. I know that people are going to be coming in and everybody's, getting behind that. And even the city of Calgary, it's finally nice to see them have that YYC, support local YYC, and really starting to get into it. And you're starting to become, I like to see, I don't know if it's a healing thing that city of Calgary did that, or it's about time that they've taxed everybody so much that they have to say that we got to support local. I don't know what their reasons are, but whatever their reasons were for starting, I think it's great. And I can really truly see you being a centerpiece of this.
Yeah. We focused, when I started Hubudub, there was a whole bunch of things we had to figure out. And as we progressed through those, we wanted to make sure that we built the right tools, because we can have good initiatives, good intentions, but if we don't have the right tools to make those changes, we won't be able to deliver. Like, if the tool chest is empty, you can't do anything. So that was a big part of our organization, was how do we build those tools? And so we ended up providing, like you described how Hubudub works, but we end up leveraging some core aspects to what'll make Hubudub a successful movement to get people back engaged. The first one is coming up with a business model that doesn't make money for people spending more time online. And that's actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. So if you look at almost everything that we call freemium, it's free, and then you pay you get advertised through those websites. Yeah. So in the end, no matter what they're promoting, in the end, they only make money by you spending more time online. And that's been a huge shift in our population. So how do you build a business model where the only way you can market to it will build increased community participation? That was a huge problem we had to figure out. And that was the epiphany for me, as I started asking our marketing team when I was at the university. I was like, how many likes or how many views are turning into dues? Because I was watching community participation decline during a lot of the rise of this time spent online. So that was a big step for us, is how do we build a program that will never be in a conflict of interest with our partners? And then figuring out how to do rewards and gamification, tools that have worked really effectively at getting me to play a few more games of Clash Royale or something like that. How do we leverage those for real life community? And then another thing, I was thinking about that on the way in. I've sat in probably a few hundred hours of discussions about partnerships. Wow. Probably hundreds of hours of discussions about partnerships at the highest level across our preventative health industry. That's what I'd like to call anybody in the sectors that are trying to provide arts and health and recreation. And all of those meetings, we had great intentions, but there was no tools to activate those partnerships. So how do we build Hubudub into a tool that can bring those partnerships across? And then the final thing, every area that I was able to grow, I needed to know what was going on and use that data for good. And that was the other piece that was really important to us, is you gotta gather information on what people think of your experience, which is really hard to do. And then how do you integrate it really easy? I don't know how many tech companies have pitched to me when I was in a senior leadership role, and then I looked and realized to integrate that software suite would be like weeks of work, and we might not even do it. So we had to build something that was easy to just like turn on.
No, I love that views and the do's. I think that I'm gonna steal that from you. I'm just letting you know right now. If you
It's
start
okay.
hearing people talking about it, and you're like, "Oh, I used to say that." Well, I'm gonna tell everybody. So I'm just letting you know. I love that phrase.
Yeah, the
No, I mean
conversion
it's so
rate.
true. We are losing the connectivity of today, and in today's digital world, it's tough. People go behind there. They hide behind Twitter. They're just not out there. And I mean that's a whole new topic for another day. But
Yeah,
for what you're doing, it is absolutely awesome. And I know, when we ran into each other last night at the Startup Canada or Startup Calgary launch event, and you were talking about how things are progressing and growing, and that's awesome, and your hours are expanding immensely. So, but you did mention something that I want to touch base on, because you are an app-based business, and I haven't had a lot of app-based businesses on here. Power Switch, Kerry Gore is one of them, but I mean, you must have had some challenges. You mentioned like integration, even back at the UFC days. I mean, share some of what you've had to do. How about Apple, the Google Play? How have they been to deal with?
yeah. When you build an app, expect it to take twice as long as you plan. And I'll just describe it this way. When we were like 10 years ago, when you got your very first app, you were just excited to have an app. It crashed on you all the time. It was glitchy. It didn't do what it told you it would do half the time. Nowadays, when you build an app, it's got to be polished and smooth. You've got to focus on the people who are using it and make sure they really enjoy it. That is a lot higher bar than we were at 10 years ago. And I think that's one of our biggest challenges is just making sure we focus on the members of Hubudub and our partners, and just make sure their experience is
Yeah.
extraordinary.
So I guess I just want to touch base on one. I mean, I know you told me, you probably know where I'm going with this. I mean, you had like 25 versions and updates, and everything went good, and you're just about to launch, and boom, Apple shuts you down.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to bring up a lot of bad memories, but I just think that's something that I think you should share with everybody, just to kind of show them. I mean, how you think everything is running so smoothly, and then all of a sudden it's like, holy crap.
Yeah. If you're trying to do anything new that's outside of the box, expect to get a few real hard twists that hurt a lot. so yeah, we part of our business model was fine for 34 versions of Apple, and then our 35th version, right before we were going to launch with a major partner, got rejected and the reason it was rejected was a ruling that happened in another country. Like, I never thought that our business would be affected by a country thousands of miles away, but that is the world you live in once you're on an app. And that is the danger, and that's kind of what happened to us. But like I said, you kind of got to dust yourself off and find a new way to do it. And I'm thankful to say that we came out with what I think is a much better solution than what our original plan was.
Oh, that's good. Luck during Emergo, struggle and emerge, right? It's something that goes on.
Here.
And I'm glad that I remember you phoning me and you're like, oh, and I was like, holy goodness. I mean, then it's good. You turned it into a positive, and
Yeah.
obviously, Hubudub is rocking and rolling. So what's next for you for Hubudub? Let's hear the plans.
Well, I'm definitely committed to seeing this mission through. I'd like to change a few more people's lives, get them back engaged in their community, give our partners a few more people that they can help. And then for me, I found personally, I think I'm always just focused on learning and growing. So as long as I get to be able to continue to learn and grow and really push my needle forward, I'm just excited to progress with that. And I would say I think like a real big learning that I had running a startup is when you work for a big organization, the organization can kind of hold you at a certain comfort level.
Yeah.
So you can have good days and bad days when you're working for a big organization. The organization will kind of be your thermostat and keep you at the right temperature, right? But when you're running a startup, you have good and bad minutes. And there's only one person that can keep the constant temperature, and that's you. So I
Yeah.
think personally that's been probably the most fun part of this journey is I've gotten to grow a lot inside. Like now it doesn't matter what temperature it is in the company. I'm still sitting at 70 degrees and comfy. And before I was able to just kind of rely on everyone else to help me hold through those moments. So I've really enjoyed that. So I think as long as I get to continue to grow, I'm all in. I really want to help change people's lives. A lot of us are hurting. I can say myself, I spend more time doing stuff I don't want to do. And I feel like my good intentions, and my attention is completely under attack. So I want to try and reverse that and get people like give us the tools to push in the other direction for a
No, that's
change.
awesome. I mean, and I commend you for it, and I love it. And everybody that I talk to about Hubudub just they think it's such a great idea. So I mean, thank you for creating it,
Yeah.
and that is great. So I mean, I know with the last question I like asking, and I mean, you've had a wealth of an experience here. So if you had one piece of advice for an entrepreneur, startup, small business, Kurt, what would it be?
Hmm. That's a tough question. Because there's about a bazillion different things. I think I'll try and simplify it as much as possible. If you're gonna start if you're gonna start a mission of any kind, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're working for a big organization, you have to you like this comes back to vision, mission, and values, but I'll try and simplify it so I can get this across really quick. You have to remember if you imagine you're achieving a real hard goal, it's the top of a mountain, right?
Yeah.
You have to say, okay, my mission is this mountaintop. So for me, my mission right now is to get more people back in our community and help our partners continue to improve health. Our values are how we're going to climb that mountain. And our vision is what the world's going to look like when we're at the top of the mountain. And if you keep focusing on those things, everything else will start to come together. And it's never one good idea that builds a company. It's a thousand progressive steps forward, sideways, and back. But you got to stick to your mission, your vision, and your values.
No, and that's great. I mean, that's why you create them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you just put them up there to be a poster on a wall somewhere, there's no sense even having them. If you're going to put them up there, you better follow them, you better believe them, and you better live them. So that's very good advice.
Yeah. And I throw one last thing is don't get distracted by the culture of your industry. You can get really drawn into just hanging out with all the people doing similar things. You really got to focus on your customers. They're pretty much all you got, and just keep trying to provide value to them.
Yeah, if there's no customers, it's hard to have a business.
Yeah, but you can go to lots of things and hang out and have lots of fun, I guess.
Yeah, you can go to Startup Calgary launch parties, get a free beer.
Yeah, no, those things are good. There is value there.
I know. We had no Calgary breweries here, but hey, who's complaining? I guess whatever. We even have to ask, hey, you guys don't have any local breweries in here? No, Bud Light. Oh, okay.
That's funny.
So much for the support local YYC that Calgary's trying to. City's trying
some of our great startups in our city.
Yeah. I know. We only got like 50 beautiful breweries here. We couldn't have one there.
Yeah, that's too funny.
I know. We digress though. But know what, Kurt? I really appreciate you coming on today, sharing your story. Again, anybody wants to click on it, it is in the comment section, hubudub.com. You go there, you sign up on your app. It is simple. It is very to you. I mean, like I said, we go to the Y. When I swim, I'm swimming, I'm collecting points. I'm there with the girls playing badminton, I'm collecting points. It is just so easy. It's such a good app to really start the community involvement. So thank you so much, Kurt, for starting that, creating that, and really helping us connect as a community.
Well, and thank you, Jade. You've been a part of this. The best parts of this journey have been meeting people like you and being able to work with this whole different community of people that are legitimately trying to help people and push the needle forward. That's so important to everybody's success.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. And I mean, like we were talking before, you see last night, the energy in the startup and the small entrepreneurial community it's just there. It's just positive. And I think there's really good things to come, not only in the tech, but all different types of industries through the startup world.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sure. Again, thank you again, Kurt. I know we'll probably run into each other relatively soon again, and enjoy your day. And thank you again for sharing your story.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for talking with me. It was great.
Have a good day, buddy.
Yeah. Bye.